Dom here. Thanks so much for listening to First Question Podcast. Before we begin, I have a favor to ask of you. If you love animals, we'd like to invite you to go over to Forever Fortunate Felines. That is 3 F's. Forever Fortunate Felines. And to like their pages on social media. And if you're looking to adopt or foster a cat, or to pull a cat to foster or adopt from one of the animal control centers, literally cats that are going to be euthanized near you that might have a limited amount of time left, you contact Forever Fortunate Felines. Whether you foster or adopt, they do great work. They truly put animals first. And once you've followed Forever Fortunate Felines, I'd like to invite you to follow It Takes a Village to Save a Life. If you'd like to follow the It Takes a Village page on Facebook or wherever you get your social media, pretty much all of the dogs that are listed there, last chance rescues. That means, like some of the cats that Forever Fortunate Felines works with, these dogs are going to be euthanized, and many of them are at the Chicago Animal Care and Control Center. If you don't live in Chicago, you can still follow these pages. And I'd also like to invite you to follow the Animal Care and Control transfer teams near you. If you're in Austin, Texas, Animal Care and Control transfer team. Miami, Florida, Animal Care and Control transfer team on social media. Save a life, do what's right. You never know. If you adopt or foster an animal, one of the lives you save might be your own.
Welcome to the preview.
Fuckers.
We're all shit asses. It's true.
Yeah.
Furry is not a sexual orientation. It's not a gender. I'm going to have to politely ask Becky and Brad to take several seats because nothing says I've never felt the warm kiss of an aroused vagina on my man parts, like telling the world you think that your kid shits in a fucking litter box at school. So, Brad, have a seat. We're all shit asses. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, hey there, friend. It's Dom. We want to thank you so much for listening to First Question Podcast right here on the Dominique Does Life Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts. We realize that you may be hearing more ads recently. There's a reason for that. We bring you free content here at First Question because we love you and we believe that the things we talk about are important, entertaining, and educational. And hopefully they'll even give you a laugh sometimes. Now, this is a full-time job for me, in addition to my other full-time job, and at minimum a part-time job plus for researchers, editors, guests, co-hosts, and everyone else who's working with us at First Question. We love doing this, and we'd like to be able to keep on doing it. We'd like to continue to bring you free content at First Question Podcast. You can access free content a couple of ways. Firstly, you can go to the free Spreaker app, right where we're based at the Dominique Does Life Podcast Network, and you can download that app. That's Spreaker, Spreaker, and search for Dominique Does Life, where you'll find all of the Dominique Does Life Podcast Network content, including First Question Podcast. Or listen wherever you get your podcasts. Whatever platform you're listening from will have a play-pause button, which is probably how you're listening to us right now. I know, mine like a steel trap. And right next to that, on the right, will be a fast-forward button that probably says something like either 15 or 30 seconds. You can simply hit that button if you're not driving while you're listening and skip through our commercials. Now, our commercials help us to get paid for what we do, while still providing the option for free content to those who enjoy it. Looking at expanding, getting everyone who's helping us paid and paid regularly, and eventually making this a full-time job. We appreciate your understanding. A couple of other options for you are, we'll be opening up a membership tier very shortly on Spreaker, where you can simply join for a small fee. Our channel will have different membership packages, and you can hear commercial-free content. Just our podcasts, the way they're edited for you right now, professionally done, without commercials. You'll even get some special episodes just for you. And depending on your tier, these are the possible options. We also have available to people who appreciate what we're doing and have a couple of bucks to spare every month, our Patreon memberships. If you'd like to become a patron of First Question Podcast, you can click the link in the drop-down menu of each episode, where you can simply click on our Patreon link from there. There you'll find several different tiers of membership with different prices and different perks. We want to thank you for listening to First Question Podcast and for your understanding that commercials are part of the way that we're able to bring you free content. We appreciate you and we want to thank you for listening. We'd love to get to know you, so follow us on Instagram, join our Discord, and when you do, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let us know that you're there. We'd love to get to know you. Quick reminder, the episode of First Question that you're listening to right now had to be edited from a severely damaged sound file due to a technical malfunction with Zoom. We apologize for the inconvenience and we hope that this isn't too distracting from the topic we're discussing. Thanks so much for sticking with us, and back to the show.
Hey fuckers, how's it going?
This summer, from the DAF network, where we only highlight people who do shit that is dumb as fuck, comes the new show, Shit Road Truckers on Ice. We will be highlighting the harrowing journey of several dozen dwindling numbers of truckers traveling from Canada to the United States and then immediately backing out and turning the fuck back around to go back to Canada. Stay with us as we document these dramatic moments. Stops for coffee, taking a shit on the side of the road, and hoping no one notices. These are the moments that make up our new unscripted reality TV series, Shit Road Truckers on Ice. Coming this summer to the DAF network. Trademark DAF Network, Shit Road Truckers on Ice. Don't try this at home. Stay with us at the DAF Network as we highlight the trials, the tribulations, and all of the real-life moments of these shit road truckers who might be on ice. We can't tell you that for legal reasons, but you can do your own research. Just like they do.
All right, well, hey, we're back. We're here. We made it. We survived lockdown 3. I think we're on 3.
Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I knew that one was coming.
Yeah, dad jokes are us. Mike Tuller is back with us, and Sarah isn't here. I just feel like she's going to own, I was going to say Meta or Facebook, but no, she's better than that. Something even better than that is what she'll own one day. But we'll catch her next time, and hopefully next time we'll bring you guys a fun story that's a nice break from all of the cults and true crime and moral panics. since we're not going to do that today, we've got Mike here who's...
Wait, this isn't fun? This is fun.
What? It's
This
fun.
is fun.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Fun to
Yeah,
us.
it's absolutely fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's 100% fun.
I agree. I agree. I'm thinking more like...
Lies and slander.
We've got Mike here. I don't want to oversell it, but basically I think you are amazing at logic, discernment, knowing how to approach things. And moral panics is one of the things that you know really well. So thank you for being here again.
Yeah, no problem. I don't want to oversell it either, but I'm kind of the sorcerer supreme of logic. Yes, no.
I knew that beard looked familiar. Doctor Strange has been in hiding.
Just wear the white streaks, then you'll be...
I want to know how to use the hand teleporter. Imagine how much that would save on gas.
Oh my God.
Well, first off, the key is to learning the right term. It's the sling ring.
We're going to cover what I'm calling the shit road truckers because they're paving a road of bullshit for all of us to drive down. Yay! Extremism is everywhere again.
The new edginess of the world, you might want to get a trademark on that because TLC's coming hard for that cash grab.
Or the History Channel, maybe, but I think they're busy with ancient aliens right now, allegedly. This extremism is really hot right now because not only is there this, what we're covering, which is called the 2022 Freedom Convoy. It's a group of truckers from Canada mostly, but other people are joining in, unfortunately, and it is absolutely QAnon related. And absolutely moral panic related. They have decided, this group of truckers, not without help from the American right wing, to form a convoy and block up the border between Canada and the US because masks are uncomfy and icky, I guess, allegedly. And needles are ouchy and doctors are scary and we don't like being told what to do.
Is that why I can't find Moosehead in the stores anymore? Because these assholes?
One of my friends gets medication shipped in to California and it is affecting California quite a bit right now. She can't get her medication because of these assholes. So thanks, guys. That's great. Great job, like owning the libs or whatever, I guess.
We got a shithead convoy.
Literally.
A shithead Canadian convoy. Are they just shitheads but extremely polite and passive aggressive?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no. They're flying straight up Nazi flags.
Yeah.
There's videos of them. Who here's a white supremacist? And
I've not had a chance to go down the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Words are hard.
Same. And I just have, because I've been editing our last episode and I'm like, okay, is there anything else I need to throw into this? And then I find this story and we have to talk about this. It ties right into everything we've been talking about lately. Yes, they've been flying Nazi flags. They had recently what they called, in their own words, because I follow their Telegram accounts, their own version, quote unquote, of January 6th that they hoped would be just as violent. Thanks, guys. That's great.
The travel ban is not a ban, which makes it not a ban.
But you just called it a ban.
Because I'm using your words. You said ban.
First question, wouldn't you want one that's more successful? Solid low ball.
Yeah.
I don't think they necessarily want it to be successful because if it's successful, then they can't be the oppressed underdogs and cry on camera.
Exactly.
Which is all part of that moral panic thing.
Exactly. Per Vice Media, sorry, it's a dumb hashtag. I didn't name it. Any of us would have done better. Hashtag Wexit is the far-right secessionist movement in Canada, which believes that the rural Canadian provinces should secede from the rest of Canada because Muslims are bad and Black and brown people are scary. And because rules are bad, I guess.
They want the freedom for them and their pet moose there, don't you know, to go and use that beaver as a pocket pussy because that tail right there slaps hard. It goes to show that there are backwoods idiots everywhere. Yeah. Congratulations, America. We're not the only ones.
To that point, not only were they flying Nazi flags, but they were flying the stars and bars, too, for some reason.
I saw that. Isn't
like Canadians flying stars and bars.
Editing down here, for those of you who don't know, let's talk about the stars and bars. I think you'll understand why this flag was being flown alongside the Nazi flag. I still don't understand why in Canada they can't find a better symbol for their hate. It might make some sense given the context. The Stars and Bars is a wartime Confederate flag. Of course, the Confederacy was a secessionist movement that was supposed to be not only an outcropping of the United States, but according to the Southerners at the time, better United States or more consistent with what they thought the United States was supposed to be. People might talk about states' rights when the topic is brought up. States' rights to do what? Well, to keep slaves. It has 3 stripes, red, white, and red, and 7 stars over a blue square covering the top 2 red and white stripes at the upper left-hand corner of the flag. The bastardization of the United States flag. So where did I find all of this for you guys? I looked it up at the University of North Carolina's archives. Thank you to UNC. It is part of our history. So let's read this. The birth of the stars and bars. Be it said to the honor of both herein mentioned, the veteran of the gray Orrin Randolph Smith, designer of the first Confederate flag, who died recently at his home in Henderson, North Carolina, and the veteran of the blue, General Edward Albert Lever, who fought against that flag and who is the editor of the magazine in which this poem appears. Whatever the convictions of the 2 men may have been, each knew the other for a generous foe. Significant of the fact is the silent tribute of regard which Latin America pays to the memory of a gallant soldier gone to his reward. L-E-Y. And here is the verse. The shadow of a storm brooded o'er all. The hearts of men were thrilled with sounds afar. What is this gloom that blackens like a pall? If war must be, one cried, then give us war. Yet I have loved my country, I have cheered the stars and stripes beneath the Mexi skies. The bullet of the foe I have not feared. All men are brothers. Must we break such ties? War was declared. Fate rang hope's funeral knell. The storm cloud broke, and the red, white, and blue flag he had bled for, he must bid farewell. He ne'er had thought to recognize a new inexorable decree. Southland so fair, from henceforth he was thine and thine alone. With soul determined, with the last doubt flown, home of the free, beloved, and peerless land, thou hadst no flag to raise above the fray, no emblem all thine own to lead thy band. The brave, the true, the dauntless men in gray, a soldier's flag, he said, with kindling glance, must be inspiration, something more than bunting and gay colors to enhance its meaning and significance. He bore no bitterness within his lofty soul. His great heart had no room for petty hate. Right was his slogan, freedom was his goal. This Orrin Randolph Smith, whate'er the fate of the young Constitution, he would be first to reveal its emblem to the world. Thus, musing, he selected symbols 3, church, state, and press, on azure field unfurled. Then 7 stars he grouped in circle round, 1 white star for each state. For I know, he said, the circle hath a meaning most profound, time and eternity. Blue, white, and red, he tore the bars and set them in their place. And as with bated breath and rapture pure, the sire looks upon his firstborn's face, so he upon his flag. What souls endure? In moments so supreme his soul endured, nor even when he saw it in the dust, to strife and blood and sorrow for long endured, did he forsake the dear and holy trust? Smith gave the South her flag. The best in him was woven in its every sacred fold, though torn and tattered, faded, worn and dim, our hearts enshrine it still in memory's gold. And this is written by Lolita Lever Young. Lolita Lever Young was a poet laureate of Stonewall Jackson chapter in New Orleans. I think you can tell that that's a bit of rhetoric, perhaps even some propaganda, but they used this flag nevertheless, and while it was supposed to be the original, true Confederate flag, in time it did become the flag of war that they would fly proudly when the Confederacy was fighting the United States. I think we can all tell that this had a very clear impact on people's sensibilities. A poet laureate put pen to paper to write about the flag's importance and the story of how, why, and by whom it was made.
That's like going to a Toronto Maple Leafs game while wearing a Los Angeles Kings jersey.
Yep.
and a LeBron James hat.
Or
Makes no sense.
going to a Blackhawks game in a Red Wings jersey.
I've done that, thank you. I do not. I am a Red Wings fan.
You are,
Well,
that's
see,
true.
that's just inviting an ass whooping Chicago style. That's all.
Yeah, it really is. I hate to say it. You know what? My dad used to troll Sox fans by wearing Cubs jerseys to their games too. But these people are, get this, complaining about their constitutional rights. Canada, guys, you're not part of the United States. Some of the main complaints that I've read from individual participants in this 2022 Freedom Convoy revolve around the perception that Canadians have a Second Amendment right to bear arms. Now, Canada is not governed under the U.S. Constitution. Hopefully everyone knows that and understands that. So that's a bit alarming that folks seem to think that they are. The United States is in fact a whole nother country. This just in. The Constitution Act in 1982 was signed by Pierre Trudeau, the current Prime Minister's father, while on paper Canada had still been a territory of Britain. It had been operating as a free country for quite some time, but this just solidified and it enshrined, as the Canadian Encyclopedia puts it, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada's Constitution, which is the highest law of the land. This wasn't an across-the-board popular movement. This garnered fierce political battle for over 18 months. The government was truly divided on this. It seems as if some were hesitant to follow what they might have thought of as the American model. At the time of Confederation, Canada's constitution had consisted, via the Canadian Encyclopedia, of several acts of the British Parliament in London, England, and the most important of these was the British North America Act, now called the Constitution Act of 1867. Also included were a series of British constitutional conventions, which were widely accepted unwritten rules. It was really only on paper that Canada wasn't a free, self-governed country, and that it was part of the British Empire, which had been dwindling since before the First World War. Only the British Parliament had the authority to amend this change officially in the B&A Act. Within the Statute of Westminster in 1931, Britain was willing to grant full autonomy to the self-governing parts of its empire, including Canada, to see them as commonwealths. But Canadians weren't feeling that. They felt like if they accepted that and transferred that constitutional power from Britain, how would they be free to amend their own constitution? So they've had this struggle, similar to ours, of how much power should any government have over them. And I think that's an important conversation that every country should have. And they do have a good backbone of how to have it and how to govern nationally, provincially, and locally. As I mentioned, there's a secessionist movement in Canada right now. It does almost seem as if Canada is, in a way, following in our footsteps. From 1931 up until the Constitution Act of 1982, Canada essentially was technically still part of the British Empire because they weren't comfortable with the stipulations that Britain had given them regarding how, when, why they could self-govern. And so British Parliament did retain the authority, at least on paper, until 1982 to amend Canada's constitution. It's an interesting history. The first part of the Constitution Act of 1982 is the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It prevents the federal, provincial, and territorial governments from infringing upon the rights and freedoms of Canadians, very similar to the United States Constitution. There is, however, a notwithstanding clause, and the federal or provincial governments can exempt any law from certain charter provisions. I'll put it in the drop-down description of this episode. Now, Canada is very much what one of our patrons would call a cuddly capitalist country. They're not a socialist country, but sort of a social capitalism. At least that is their model of government. At this time in history, the American right-wing movement is spilling over into other Western countries like England, Australia, and Canada, and it is influencing, for better or for worse, the paths that they might take.
Oh, no, you can't say that. Up here in Royal Beaverland, we declared eligible for the American draft. We're just waiting for that.
Yeah, there you go.
I love how we see the continual downfall of intelligence, not just in America, but once again, we've infected the world.
Right, we have.
One, to invoke some awesome Canadian stuff. To be fair,
I was hoping someone would do a Letterkenny reference. Thank you.
Yes.
most of these conspiracy theorists don't think that the United States is an actual country anymore anyways, that it was a corporation. And there hasn't been a president since, like Taft?
What is it, 1871, they think? We haven't had a president since 1871. Yeah. I was going to say, could we suggest that these people are cobbled together from spare parts? Another Letterkenny reference?
It's fucking embarrassing.
It is.
Find a trash can to kick.
Yes, it is.
That's what I appreciate about you.
RCMP officer Peter Downing and ex-RCMP officer Patrick King are the two founders of the Wexit movement, with far-right Maverick Party member Tamara Litch having endorsed the movement since it was founded. Wexit is connected directly to the Canadian truckers. It should be unsurprising that these alleged twat waffles behind the current supply chain disrupting anti-mask, anti-vax protests involving Canadian truckers who have been courted by extremist groups like Wexit, that they're completely tied into the Wexit movement. In related news that's going to shock no one, trucker Dave Steenberg, who is one of the convoy leaders, took to TikTok to express his frustration by sharing a series of ill-informed videos, at least one of which included a hate symbol used by far-right groups that we will not be sharing here.
And to tie a little bit more humor in this, Dave Steenberg was the third guy it took to fuck the ostrich with Boots and the Ginger.
Allegedly.
I think what's worse about this is that it has started from two former Mounties. And the Mounties are not just Dudley Do-Right on horses, they are the actual FBI of Canada. So this is coming from a very high place originally.
When people like this guy Steenberg pick up on it and start filling the scene with misinformation, it just muddies the waters even further, I think, for everyone. And the Toronto Star says, Steenberg's TikTok page is also filled with these pandemic denialism videos and promoting fictional war crime trials that he thinks that those responsible for vaccine mandates should go through. Really? We're going to do the fucking Nuremberg trials for people who are just trying to keep you safe?
Are these the same fictional war crime trials? The new queen of England from Canada? Are they the same ones?
It was covered on QAnon Anonymous earlier this year. Romana Dietela claims to be the rightful queen of England and Canada. She's supported the truckers' convoy. She was put on a mental health hold in Canada. She did just go back to conspiracism and to openly supporting the truckers' convoy. No word yet on what they actually want, as they have made their way from occupying the capital in Ottawa and causing destruction and pollution down through California, Las Vegas, and to Washington, D.C. Their convoy has petered out. Folks have complained about poor communication and a lack of goals, which seemed murky at best. Mask mandates have been dropped in both Canada and the United States, and cases of COVID are down. 90% of Canadians are vaccinated. Vaccine mandates and masking have worked. Numbers are down. It seems a moot point at this juncture. A few of these folks have sparsely populated areas around DC where they're attempting to lock up traffic and where people like Ted Cruz are hanging around trying to, my opinion, get their 15 minutes of fame. While this convoy is beginning to peter out, it's important to keep in mind that people like Dietela. You can find out more about her on my podcast, Dominique Does Life, on the Dominique Does Life podcast network, and is available on the free Spreaker, that's Spreaker app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Why Romana Dietela and what she's saying and doing and instructing others to do matters. She has instructed her followers to deliver threatening notices and to follow up with violence to law enforcement, government, businesses. That's troubling, and I think we need to keep an eye on this. I've got you covered. Listen to Dominique Does Life for more on Ms. Didelot. It's also worth noting before we get back to the show here that quite a few hackers have taken issue with some of the funding regarding this Freedom Convoy. They did hack the Give, Send, Go platform where folks raise funds purportedly for the 2022 Freedom Convoy after they were, in my opinion, belatedly kicked off of GoFundMe. Give, Send, Go was forced to return all funds raised to donors. There was, for a time, and may still be, an anti-Freedom Convoy initiative aptly named the Ram Ranch Resistance. This is what they've been disrupting these convoy chats with. It's raunchy. Giving you time to tune out right now.
18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks wanted to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys wanted to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanting to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch really rocks. Hot, hard, buff cowboys, their cocks throbbing hard. 18 more wild cowboys out in the yard. Big bulging cocks ever so hard. Orgy in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks.
You get the picture. All credit to Gavin McDonald. If you're interested in hearing more, his song is on just about every platform out there. I think that this sort of resistance matters.
But then we also have it coming from the top.
Yeah.
And this is showing this panic through every ecosystem of the world. So what would be the root cause for any of it? I would say even the educated, the two former Mounties, where would they have gotten?
A lot of moral panics come from changes in society. Let's look at the Satanic Panic of the 80s, right? A lot of the Satanic Panic of the 80s stems from the fact that women were starting to work outside the home more, put children into daycare more. It became this morality play. Well, 99% of it was associated with daycares. Daycares where the Satanists were abusing their children for the satanic ritual abuse, and it was all associated with the fact that women were starting to work outside the home and put the kids into daycare. And it was an attempt to guilt women into staying home.
That's right.
So when you're looking at changes in the world now, where we're starting to see Black and brown people of all sorts of sexual preferences starting to get more and more screen time, more stage time, we're starting to see more of that flashback at it. And it all stems down to that. If you look at the core of the QAnon stuff, it's all about preserving the white heterosexual male top end and trying to beat down all these upstarts.
I would agree. To add to that, even if somebody, like you said, Matt, who's actually in government in some form or law enforcement doesn't come in with that perspective, as long as they come in from a place of fear to join these types of movements, they get grandfathered in and adopt that exact same fear that Mike was talking about. It's like it's infectious or something.
Well, and that's the key to a lot of these too, is they welcome all comers, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to also suggest that the aliens and Q are at the top of the food chain along with the Illuminati and, of course, the Jewish space lasers,
Right.
That eventually gets rolled into it because we welcome all comers, anybody who's questioning, who's running with the idea that there's something wrong with the society, we'll take you in. So then it just spreads through that system, adding in another layer, another aspect, another subgroup that continues to build on the insanity.
Yeah, absolutely true.
And that makes a lot of sense. QAnon and Satanic Panic, it all comes back to Manson and cults. All of it's tied through fear and the same things that take all comers is why we keep seeing the Jewish cabal in all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Aliens, like you were saying, make their appearances. It's just cool, but also scary to see that it's repeated itself for every fad panic we've had.
That's true. It just keeps repeating and repeating. Pieces of old, not just pieces, large portions of old panics crop up again and again and again. And I just keep feeling like, and maybe this is just my depressive mood talking, having had COVID and being indoors for weeks on end, but are we just starting to see the fundamental flaw in the founding of our country come to a tipping point right now?
Define the fundamental flaw.
Yeah.
From there.
Well, I guess I would say that the fundamental flaw, in my opinion, would be the Quick reminder, the episode of First Question that you're listening to right now had to be edited from a severely damaged sound file due to a technical malfunction with Zoom. We apologize for the inconvenience, and we hope that this isn't too distracting from the topic we're discussing. Thanks so much for sticking with us, and back to the show. Puritanicalism and the feeling that we deserve more than other people, and that we can judge other people because we're Americans, and that we are better than others because we're Americans. Like I said, the sense of just religious fervor. I just wonder if that's not coming to a tipping point. If you think about it, isn't that kind of what our country was founded on?
America as a whole does have a very big egotistical problem. Like every cartoon where you see Texas coming in with a hat and a couple guns, that's America everywhere.
Yep.
And I would say...
I love America, don't get me wrong. I mean...
Yeah, I'm a very proud American.
Me too.
But there are some people in this country who take everything to the Spinal Tap 11. And unfortunately, with everything in our country and in our world that causes stereotypes, it's those same people who take the whatever they're big into and they turn it into the Spinal Tap to 11 category, and then they act on it is how we associate.
This idea of literal puritanicalism, too, has been with us since the beginning. Like, this is why these people couldn't stay in Europe, because they didn't feel like their beliefs were being respected and honored.
America was founded on Karens.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. More so to the point that a lot of the Puritans left because they felt that England itself was becoming more and more open, more accepting of things that weren't Jesus. And you get to the U.S. and then you get Manifest Destiny, right?
Yep,
and that's where you get that entire drive that we're owed more than anything because we've manifested that destiny. God has manifested that destiny for
God
us.
favors us, yeah.
Us white people.
Yes, men and straight people and white people. Forget the Native Americans who've lived here for thousands of years.
It's the whole Eddie Izzard bit about
yes.
Took off from Plymouth and landed in Plymouth, and we made our country, and there's nobody here. Excuse me? What's with all this stuff on your head? And then we screwed them up.
Yeah,
if the Native American would have seen, and we are way off topic, we are sliding down the ice road shit here.
True.
But if when we landed on Plymouth and those Native Americans decided, nah, fuck these guys.
Yeah, true.
Like, we could have a whole different story now.
Just send their asses back to Europe. We don't need them.
Yeah. Oh, hey guys, is this the new world? It's back the way you came.
Yeah, sorry. Wrong turn.
You took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Yes.
And it wasn't even invented yet.
No, but that's exactly where you took the wrong turn, even so turn it around and go back. Back on topic, not that it was totally off topic there actually, but says Evan Balgord, director of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. That's the point, quote unquote. This isn't a few bad apples. Every single group we monitor is involved in leading or participating in this convoy. What is actually lost here are the concerns of the actual truckers. As the Toronto Star pointed out, Mr. Steenberg is listed as one of the leaders of the convoy, appearing at least from the information currently available on their website, Canada Unity, as the leader of the Toronto faction of the so-called Freedom Convoy. So they're not even trying to hide their link to extremist groups at this point. And from the general tone and timbre of his TikTok videos, this guy Steenberg appears to feel that the Freedom Convoy won't stop until all of their demands listed on their list of demands are met, including a halt to all masks and vaccine mandates. This group is evidently prepared to hold North America hostage until that happens, maintaining their operation, as they call it, Operation Bear Hug, to strangle supply lines throughout North America.
18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big heart-throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just going to make my headcanon that's not the big furry grizzly woods bear, but more the gay bar bear.
Yes, absolutely. Operation
All right, first off, okay, well, we can admit the second off because you already tackled bear hug right there. But on the previous episode, on our funny cryptid episode with the drunk bears, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it was a very pissed off day where God made bears. I like how they think they're going to hold not just the USA, not just Canada or Mexico, all three hostage with TikTok and a couple of trucks.
They do. And they literally are planning to go to the Mexican border now, too, which I don't know that they're going to find very hospitable, but like, do you, I guess.
I can't wait till they run into the first cartel member when they stop a cartel convoy.
There you go.
Just how are the Canadian truckers intending to get to the Mexican border without crossing the U.S. border?
I know.
Trump built a tunnel.
Yes.
Trump built a tunnel to the wall.
It's the Duns. That's where the Duns come in. They're
the deep underground military bases, right? Yes.
And clearly JFK is there.
Oh, yeah, he is. He'll be waiting for them. And so the truckers, it must be noted, have been under a vaccine mandate, which has worked. Even vaccinated truckers have joined the protest after apparently being courted by various right-wing groups, like the now apparently defunct The Soldiers of Odin, and more current groups like the Plaid Army and the Diagolon Network.
Wait. They can't take Plaid Army. That was every grunge kid in the 90s.
I know.
I am still a member of the Plaid Army.
I
wear
too.
flannel all the time. As an acting sergeant of the Plaid Army, I reject the other Plaid Army.
Yes, I agree.
I'm just going to say, can we leave Odin out of this too? Because Odin does not approve whatsoever.
No, he doesn't. Odin is giving you the stink eye with his one eye. He's not happy. It should be noted that apparent far-right groups like United We Roll have tried to clog up the North American supply chain for various and sundry reasons well before the pandemic hit. United We Roll had raised $7.5 million in donations through crowdfunding site GoFundMe in 2019 for a similar initiative.
I really think these people just watched a bad action movie thinking, I could have got away with that. It's like how Sarah trained me when I was a kid. Anytime we'd go into a place, we'd assess how it would be for a zombie holdup.
Oh my God, same, yes.
We played that game. So any zombie movie, I immediately critique, like, why the fuck would you do that? Because these are people who don't have a zombie plan. I'm glad we are zombie people, not action movie people who think we could pull off the Nagatomi robbery because we're better than Hans Gruber.
Oh, God,
and Snape has reappeared.
Yes, Snape has reappeared. It's come full circle. Interestingly, the group as a whole, dubious separate factions and all, have drafted and signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. Mike and I both have been on boards together. A Memorandum of Understanding is a professionally drafted, yet relatively informal document stating basic goals of, and usually including details about the necessity of the formation of a particular organization. And it's interesting to me that they went ahead with the drafting and signing of an MOU, as it gives the larger group and all branches within the scope of the Freedom Convoy as a whole, a sheen of legitimacy and grassroots organizing that could unfortunately tend to attract real grassroots activists and organizers who may be lacking a greater understanding of why a group like this not only isn't fucking grassroots, but isn't legitimate. Like I said, Mike and I have both been on organizing committees and been founding board members of various grassroots groups. I am always skeptical about initiatives like this. Let's say somebody like me or Mike were on that board. We would be questioning every meeting, every convention we commit to, making sure that everything we're doing is both necessary and effective and safe and well organized. And I can tell you that this group does appear to be well organized, whatever else it could be, which makes me wonder exactly how much say some of these fringe right-wing groups have in influencing the so-called Freedom Convoy. Like, it's well organized. What do you think, Mike? I don't know if you would agree with that.
Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups.
Yeah.
But just because it's well organized doesn't necessarily mean it isn't fully under the control of these white right-wing groups. Yeah. I'm just going to go with that mispronunciation because it worked.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean it isn't under their control, just that they happen to have somebody that's a power organizer. or a couple people that are power organizers. Karens are notoriously, your school board, booster club organizers to the T with their date book and sticky notes, and they know everybody and what they're doing and how they're doing it, and they rule with an iron fist.
That's true.
Just because they're well organized doesn't mean they're not crazy.
You're right. I agree.
That being said, with a lot of these right-wing groups you see, you can stray as far as to say in some of the death cults as well, they are very militant.
Yes,
so
very.
Talking very well organized as someone who was in the Navy.
Yeah, you both.
When they say 0600, they fucking mean 0600. Like you better not be there. You better be there. Sorry. Better not be there. Better fucking be there. You better not be there. I'm so glad I'm not there now.
When they say 0600, they really mean 0745.
Hurry up and wait.
If you're not early, you're late. If you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
Hey, this is fun. This is like being in the military. Yay. And
yeah. Right. And this is how we're going to do it. It's going to be, like you said, run by a Karen with an iron fist. It should be noted the members of the Freedom Convoy arrived in Ottawa. This is unfortunate, but arrived in Ottawa on February 2nd, 2022, to protest various mask and vaccine mandates. Several members expressed the wish prior to the date in question that it would turn out, like I mentioned before, just like January 6th did in the U.S. I'm sure we don't need to remind you folks of how January 6th turned out. It's the opinion of several of the publications that have covered the Ottawa protests that many of the truckers are truly concerned about mask and vaccine mandates, and that while likely based on misinformation and disinformation, their concern is still valid. But at this point, I'm not sure they're even willing to listen to anybody about it because they've been radicalized.
I like how the truckers who spend most of their time alone in a sealed box,
right,
going down the road, are the anti-vaxxer and maxer people. Their whole thing is, I'm all over the country and I've not got COVID. No, you've driven all over the country there, Big Beaver. So, keep it rolling down the road to the pharmacy and get your vaccine cards.
And get a fucking mask, for God's sake. A lot of these people are kind of using that argument, but at the same time, like you also just said, they're driving down the road in a closed box and they don't really have a ton of interaction with other people. I mean, until now, when they just went to Ottawa, en masse and decided to protest.
I just want to know what happened to Canada, because a little bit of a history lesson here. World War I, the Canadian forces were the first ones to come up with the concept of blocking the phosgene and mustard gas with masks that they had to pee on themselves before wearing on their face. They were urinating on their own masks because the ammonia, thank you. The ammonia from the urine neutralized the gases. So their great-grandfathers and grandfathers were literally peeing on masks and slapping it on their faces and going forward into battle while these guys are whining.
That is
a bow.
Hell yeah. Dude. That leads into
they invented hockey.
And how are these the same people? Honestly, how? But that said, much of the pomp and circumstance surrounding these protests, several of which have led to unpassable U.S.-Canada borders and which have delayed critical supplies from reaching their intended delivery locations, has clearly been orchestrated by various right-wing extremist groups. It is wise to educate oneself on how to tell the difference between legitimate grassroots organizations and manufactured organizations like these, my opinion, which are largely run and or supported, not my opinion, fact, by often deep-pocketed dark money groups like QAnon disinformation conspiracy groups. And as disinformation rises in popularity and in presence, grifters see his situation they can take advantage of and play to their tune. And so the Freedom Convoy, in my opinion, is one of those groups. The Freedom Convoy had raised at least $9.6 million at the time of the research that I had done a few days back via GoFundMe, which, it should be noted, had been breaking their own terms of service. I've read through them. I genuinely believe they broke their own terms of service by platforming this far-right QAnon conspiracy group posing as a grassroots org. They did fortunately kick them off of their platform and refund everyone's money.
Yeah, they moved to the same platform.
Kyle Rittenhouse and Chauvin. Yeah,
look, I'm Rittenhouse. There we go. I'm a medic. They moved to the same platform that those guys used that was set up for basically right-wing organizations to do the same thing with GoFundMe. Which, it's just the internet.
Exactly. You can see the utility, but at the same time, it's like, do you want to give a home to a group like that? My feeling is down the road, it's going to cause this company some problems, and it's going to cause the world some problems, that's for sure. But do you, I guess. They unfortunately apparently had accessed at least $1 million of the money that they had raised. Now, they may have been made to give it back. I've got to check up on that and weigh back in later. But they used all that money to pay for diesel fuel so that the truckers could keep convoying. The thin sheen of legitimacy, which has covered the Freedom Convoy and their fundraising efforts, has only been added to by people like Canadian-American Ant-Man and the Wasp actor Evangeline Lilly, who has lately, unfortunately, shown her support for the Freedom Convoy, and the Canadian NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, whose brother-in-law apparently donated $13,000 to the organization's GoFundMe before he realized that it was an illegitimate group and said, please give me my money back. I ain't fooling with this.
And you gave him 13. Could you imagine what you could do with 13K if you just had it lying around to give to assholes? They can donate it
to us, for fuck's sake.
Hi, here's some assholes who would like 13K.
Right.
And I promise we won't block shipping lines.
And I'm not going to research them. I'm just going to give them my money. It's fine.
I'll take 13K to sit on my ass, and I won't block anything.
In the immortal words of Sandra Harris, blackmail is such an ugly word. I mean, if you want to give us money to just sit here and not do anything stupid, we are a bunch of assholes. We'll accept that offer with an open wallet. Actually, now I'm thinking we could just pay them to shut the fuck up. Who wants in on that action? Sit down, shut up, go home, and you can have money. I'll donate to that. At the time of this recording, Facebook is still allowing Freedom Convoy 2022 a place on its platform because why not? Naturally,
here's my shocked face. Oh, I'm so shocked.
I know, of course they are. And I'm so disappointed with Facebook for so many reasons, but that's
Zuckerberg is the devil.
Facebook has been seeing a huge drop in their valuation. It looks like they may be on a downswing.
Yeah, you're right. They are seeing a downswing. And actually, I know that part of that is platforms like Apple finally giving their customers the choice to ask Facebook not to track them at all. So we're not giving them our data. I think that's long overdue, and I'm so glad to see that that's finally an option.
Firefox for your PC
and
for your MacBooks and everything else has a special, what they call Facebook container.
Yes.
That allows you to log into Facebook and removes all the tracking cookies and everything when you close the tab so that Facebook can't track you across the web like they do.
That's amazing. Thank you for telling listeners that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to be using for my browser from now on. And naturally, instances of harassment by protesters against Ottawa locals and even instances of the waving, like Mike said, of at least one, but more than one, let's just be honest, Nazi flag, and at least one car decal that has Prime Minister Trudeau and his name on it, pictured above an obvious depiction of a noose. These have been spotted all over the place by eagle-eyed witnesses who have been posting these pictures on social media. And why am I not surprised? Like Mike said, look at my shocked face.
Yeah,
I'm so surprised.
Trudeau went into hiding. Yeah. And then they made fun of him because he went into a secure location.
He's the leader of their country, for fuck's sake, and his life's under threat.
Exactly. But Trump can go hide down in the bowels of the White House, and it's okay. There was that incident. Remember, everybody said he went down and hid in the safe room in the basement, and he's like, I just went down there and looked at it. I didn't go into it.
I was just running the vacuum. Like, okay, dude. Yeah, sure you weren't hiding. In other emerging QAnon news that hopefully will go away so we don't have to ever talk about it again, but I doubt that's going to happen. The National Butterfly Center in the United States has been forced to close its doors due to a barrage of threats from apparent QAnon adherents who clearly haven't learned a fucking thing from the whole Pizzagate debacle that Comet Ping Pong didn't have a fucking basement. These people aren't trafficking children. They just like butterflies. For Pete's sake, everybody needs to be able to see butterflies right now. It's a hard
Everybody
time.
gets to like something cute.
Have you no decency, sir?
Is it like monarch is the code word for the traffickers?
It all goes by age. If it's a caterpillar, you want a young kid. You know, if it's a cocoon,
Larva.
you're looking for...
it's a baby.
Yeah.
If it's a cocoon, it's like a toddler. Yeah, exactly.
And the agents are all butterflies. I solved it. Got it.
There you go. But that's about the amount of effort that goes into these conspiracies.
Yeah.
Guys, if you ever want to believe in something like this, just understand it's probably a dude like me with his bull sitting here bullshitting with his friends, and I just decided to type it one day.
Right. But no, we can't even enjoy butterflies anymore without some QAnon conspiracists making up a child sex trafficking conspiracy about the National Butterfly Center. And people wonder why I wrote, performed, and produced a song called Nobody Wants Your Children, Becky, because nobody wants your fucking children, Becky.
But they are going to be sacrificed to Satan if I don't.
Any Satanist that says that they eat more than one baby a day is lying. You cannot eat more than one. There's just too much baby.
It's the 12th tenet, thou shalt only eat one baby a day.
There you go. And let's not forget the Arizona Trump rally that happened in late January, where Negative 48 and other far-right QAnon groups converged, including the famous Watkins boys. Jim Watkins reportedly threatened Travis View, calling him Travis shit-ass View. He's one of the co-hosts of QAnon Anonymous, and then threatened him with bodily harm. He called him shit-ass, shit-ass, shit-ass over and over again. And Travis just laughed in his face, which was kind of awesome.
Well, technically, shit comes out of the ass, so we can say he's right in his insult.
We're all shit asses. It's true.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Oh, you thought we were done? Silly you. We're not. QAnon has given birth to a new moral panic. The panic about, good Lord, get your fucking tinfoil hats ready. The panic about kids shitting in litter boxes at school because they identify as furries and think they're animals.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I have a standing rule to not kink shame anybody.
Same.
Every rule has an exception, and for me, that exception is furries.
I got you.
A guy I know is a mascot, and
those
are just
right.
those are just apparently so this guy, he tells me that one of the people he served in the Navy was actually a furry. He was very open about being a furry.
Yeah.
So the furry told the mascot that mascots are just socially acceptable furries.
Okay.
I think this also goes into, on the last episode where we were talking about how all the Q people think Trump's going to run with JFK because they want the Camelot ideal.
Right.
This is a Karen who heard the term furry, just saw that, people, sexually identify with animals, and little Becky's on the floor, and she goes, mew, and meows like a cat, and she just freaks out.
I can confirm that I have talked to several members of different school boards here in the Chicago area, and they are already getting influx of parents coming in, genuinely appearing to be concerned that their kids are shitting in litter boxes at school. I think we can say with a certain level of confidence that that's not a thing.
Wait. Hold up. First off, it is Chicago, so the water bills are probably really, really high. Mm-hmm. Second off, it is Chicago. Those pipes are old.
That's true.
So you have, Put
the litter box out.
Okay, Becky, our toilets are broken and the school's broke because, we're not getting funding.
It's your fault, Becky. It is your fault.
It's your fault because, Mr. Jenkins had to go over to the fucking pet store that was abandoned and all they had were a bunch of litter boxes in there. And God damn it, if it wasn't Burrito Thursday, we might have avoided that crisis. But the kids were in trouble, damn it.
Yes, the kids were in trouble.
One man and the school board turned his back on him.
One man in a world where water is too expensive. One man has a solution. Litter boxes.
This summer, Jean-Claude Van Damme in his breakout role in Shitty Litter coming this fall.
A final thing I have to say here is, like we just referenced, furry is not a sexual orientation. It's not a gender. I'm going to have to politely ask Becky and Brad to take several seats because nothing says I've never felt the warm kiss of an aroused vagina on my man parts, like telling the world you think that your kid shits in a fucking litter box at school. So, Brad, have a seat. In conclusion, fuck off, Brad. Becky, you too. But
Bravo with that one.
Thank you. I was pissed when I was researching that. Can you tell?
Just a little bit.
So, yeah, that's what's happening in the world, and aren't we excited?
It's interesting to see that everything has changed and nothing has in the same right. We are still the same stupid, panicky animals that thought the moon landing was fake, that, believed that aliens landed on the planet because we heard it on the radio. Yep. We got.
Yep.
Go.
Well,
You're about to erupt. Your beard is growing as we speak.
That was entirely overblown by the newspapers. It wasn't that mass panic. The newspapers took that opportunity to try and tarnish the name of this up and coming upstart technology of the radio. That was actually not a panic.
Right, but there was one in South America that killed 4 people.
Really?
Yes, they did a War of the Worlds. If you give me give me 1 second to research it.
Shit, that's interesting.
I want to say I heard it on. I think it was last podcast.
I think that sounds familiar. So it might have been.
Everybody always references the original War of the Worlds broadcast, but that actually wasn't. If there was another rebroadcast in South America later, I'm not familiar with that one.
Me neither, but that's interesting. And, I know that there was another situation where a newspaper editor, I can't remember who right now, had wanted to play a prank on the public. And they actually used a novel or a fiction story that had been written, published it as if it was fact about how all of the zoo animals in New York had escaped and were stomping through the street.
There's been a number of those throughout history where the newspapers publish something, not just classic tabloids that are known for publishing yellow journalism, but New York Times, actual real newspapers that have published things in the past like that have just gone fictional stories, printed, just 100%.
And people freaked out. Yeah, sorry.
It was Chile in 1944 was the fatality.
And what was it? Was it a rebroadcast of that?
They just read it as a live recording. By the end of the night, an announcer would still be alive, but at least 6 others would be dead. And irate mobs discovered they had fallen into a radio hoax.
Oh my God! Holy shit, that's scary.
Did they not open up with a standard disclaimer?
No,
that the original show was opened with.
Right. Holy shit.
So it's good to see people don't change.
Yes, exactly.
And unfortunately, now we have technology to spread our dumbass ideas to the world.
That's right. That's it.
Hence, you're listening to a podcast.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully...
Was that Men in Black? The person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky animals?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So anything else anyone wants to add? Because that's about all that's happening right now with that.
People, these ideas to block supply lines, like there are times at work, especially when we're working in this one house, that I just think it'd be a whole lot easier if I just threw a Molotov cocktail in here.
Why not?
You should have demoed this house in the first place. We can just burn it down and start from scratch. But unfortunately, these people who have the ideas of, hey, I think the government's lying to me. I think Trump won. I'm getting this weird reading on the internet saying Firefly and how it means this and that and da-da-da-da. And it leads you down the road to blocking supply lines.
Yes, radicalization.
It is true. The backbone of America is our supply line, is our truck drivers, is our farmers, is
shipping and railway and like keeping lanes open between countries and across the ocean. We are a capitalist country, so
first off, let's give good thanks to them. Yeah. Second off, let's also be thankful that not that many of them are that dumb to shut down supply lines.
Yes.
Thank you, truckers.
To the ones who are standing up to these Freedom Convoy people, because there are actually a lot of groups of truckers in the United States and Canada standing up and going, no, this is not acceptable. This doesn't need to be a thing. So anything, Mike?
The only thing I'd like to add is that there was recently a Tennessee pastor, Greg Locke, who was holding a gigantic book burning and merchandise burning of anything that was satanic. And a couple of hero gentlemen rolled up to this public book burning, walked out there with Darwin's theory of evolution and the Holy Bible, threw the Bible onto the fire, screamed, "Hail Satan," said, "I'm keeping my evolution book." They ventured into the lion's den to taunt these morons. Then when they were pursued back to their car, because they're filming the whole thing, they were pursued back to their car by the people there. They yelling, "We rebuke you in Jesus' name," and they're just yelling, "Hail Satan."
These guys are awesome.
Oh no, it gets better. You're going to love it even more. These two hero gentlemen get into their car, wait for everybody to surround them, give each other the biggest, wettest, sloppiest kiss ever, and then back out and leave.
Oh my God, that's epic trolling. I love it.
That is, this comes to be the point I made earlier. Hey, religion's fine, and sometimes religion's great, pastors are great, but when you have to take it to book burning,
oh God, yeah,
that's when you need. Oh God, that's when you need to be checked.
Yeah,
and that's one of those people who now some other person will look at like religion or a priest and be like, nah, like fuck that. That guy burnt. Yeah. That guy burnt my fucking Motley Crue album.
Right. I guess they were burning books from the turn of the 21st century, like Harry Potter and like Twilight.
Yep. Okay, Twilight needs to be burned.
Hey, I like Twilight.
Okay, sparkly vampires.
No, so here's my thing. I'm not saying it's an amazing work of fiction. Like, I'm not going to go, oh my God, it's one of the best books ever. I'm just saying, I think a lot of the critiques around it, and I agree about the sparkly vampires, a lot of the critiques around it are actually based in misogyny and racism and sexism. And I think it's just something to look at. Why is it not okay for a young girl to just be represented just being a normal person and not having any like special abilities? People were up in arms about that back at the turn of the century, which is so stupid when you look back at it now. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of problems with the books, but I think, you know what? Good. I'm glad that they put just a normal girl in a book and made a fucking book about her. And made a series
around and then just decided, fuck normal or sparkly vampires.
Well, you know, like she had a bunch of stuff going on around her. Like, it's been a minute since I've read the books, but it's like, hey, I like to see a normal person as a protagonist. I think it's kind of cool. That said, the book was written by a fucking cult member, and there are a lot of other issues with LDS. She's like big into the Mormon church. That's my issue. Like Harry Potter, though, fucking okay. Why? It's not even. Nobody's even talking about it.
I'm just going to go on record. Harry Potter's bad books.
I love Harry Potter.
I never read them all. Potter. I couldn't even make it through all the movies.
I disagree.
My wife loves Harry Potter.
I love them.
I won't.
Really?
Won't dissuade her of her fandom. That's great.
Yeah.
There are so many plot holes and problems that I just can't stand.
Interesting. Okay, we gotta talk one day. I want to hear you.
The Marauders map itself breaks everything.
Dude. Yeah, that's the one thing I've been like, wait a minute. Why didn't he see that on the map? Okay, I got you. If anyone else is having a bit of an animated moment there during the book discussions, I actually talked with Mike after the fact, and we agree on a lot of the issues with Harry Potter, not least of which is that the author is an unapologetic TERF. We're going to be covering Harry Potter to an extent in our next episode of First Question podcast, so stick with us because the Snapeism episode is finally coming. It's already been recorded, and it is in the editing can right now. Well, so yeah, just like the way that people fall down this extremist rabbit hole is through misinformation and disinformation and through just like emotional thinking and not being able to suss out the difference between, like I touched on before, legitimate organizations and organizations like this one here. And so I just want to leave people with a thought that part of what I'm trying to do here is to help people get out of that hole of being unable to use their critical thinking. If I can do anything, I want to just get people using that critical thinking and questioning everything and being able to answer those questions for themselves, if that makes sense. Following rules, following logic, not using logical fallacies. I think that's important. And also teach yourselves about how fucking algorithms work, please, and why you're falling down these rabbit holes.
Guys, John F. Kennedy's not coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
JFK Jr.'s not coming back.
I'm sorry.
The COVID vaccine, though previously thought to, does not turn you into a zombie.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, half the time it doesn't even stop COVID.
No, well, it does. It does, but it doesn't. Because people are not vaccinated in the amounts that they should be, we're seeing mutations that attack people who've been vaccinated. So just to elaborate there, sorry.
Thank you for doing that. God only knows some Q nut is on there.
True,
and
exactly.
Next thing I know,
exactly.
I'm going to be praised as their God for some odd reason.
They'll be like, Matt's going to be on the ticket with JFK.
Matt, you know the rules. If somebody asks if you're a God,
say yes.
Oh, yeah.
Don't even start with me and some Ghostbusters. Oh, my girlfriend's awesome. She got me it's a picture, but the whole script from Ghostbusters but it's them in the elevator. So it's all the writing and it's done
Oh, that's so cool. I love
it's
that.
awesome. I posted it on Instagram. Follow us on the Instagram.
Follow us on the Instagram, First Question Podcast. We're here.
Mike does not have an Instagram.
Mike
You will not find him.
You won't.
Oh,
and
that
I
would
can
be great
understand
if that was your Instagram handle. Mike does not have an Instagram.
You know, just because I might actually start one out and make that the handle because I can appreciate that entirely.
Oh yeah, Mike doesn't have an Instagram.
And just post
You'd
no
either
photos.
you'd either get all the followers where you could then start your own cult. Make mass panic from the start with the handle Mike doesn't have an Instagram.
I am an ordained minister, so
yes, you are. We all are.
So am I, dude. We can go. We can do this. Not a cult. Not a cult.
Not a cult.
Legally, we have to say that.
Selling jams and jellies. We're not a cult.
Yes, exactly.
I am a motivational speaker. I am not a guru.
Yeah, exactly.
But they call you Guru Matt. Titles mean nothing in this world.
That sounds exactly like the leader of Negative 48. That was really good. Well, without Sarah to start us off, I feel weird.
Well, we'll have to patch her in the great unknown. So make your own reality.
Let the facts be your answers, and Mike.
Don't do anything I would do.
Yes.
Mike doesn't have an Instagram.
Yeah, Mike doesn't have an Instagram.
Pretty good at wrestling there, Katie. That's what I appreciate about you. You're real good at beating up dairy, and that's what I appreciate about you, Katie. You know, you're really good at making an entrance, Katie, and that's what I appreciate about you. Thank you, Miss Katie. I appreciate your assessment. He never wears too much perfume, Miss Katie, and that's what I appreciate about you. Sister's hot wing. There, I said it. I said it. I regret nothing.